Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to daily news analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 4th of March 2024. Displayed here are the articles that we are going to discuss today. So without much delay, let us get into the first news article discussion. Look at this article. Recently, Apple announced PQ3, a post-quantum cryptographic protocol to encrypt conversations in iMessage. The company called it the first messaging protocol to reach level 3 security. This is the crux. With this, we shall analyze in brief about the cryptography and its types from the prelims perspective. So what is cryptography? Cryptography is associated with the process of converting ordinary plain text into unintelligible text and vice versa. It is a method of storing and transmitting data in a particular form so that only those for whom it is intended can read and process it. Cryptography not only protects data from theft or alteration, but can also be used for user authentication. To put it in simple terms, cryptology is the study of codes, both creating and solving them. Cryptography is the art of creating codes. The part of cryptology that deals with studying secret messages and breaking the system is called cryptanalysis. Information gathered from the foreign signals environment enables our government to make important decisions. During the period of World War II, cryptography was utilized to ensure the confidentiality of written messages. Let's now move on to the different types of cryptography. There are three types of cryptographic techniques used in general: symmetric key cryptography, hash functions, public key cryptography. First one is symmetric key cryptography. Both the sender and the receiver share a signal key. In symmetric cryptography, both the sender and receiver share a single key. The sender uses this key to encrypt plain text and send the chipper text to the receiver. On the other side, the receiver applies the same key to decrypt the message and recover the plain text. Next is public key cryptography. This is the most revolutionary concept in the last 300 to 400 years. In the public key cryptography, two related keys, public and private key, are used. Public key may be freely distributed while its paired private keys remain a secret. The public key is used for encryption, and for decryption, private key is used. Next is hash functions. Here, no key is used in this algorithm. A fixed length of hash value is computed as per the plain text. That makes it impossible for the contents of the plain text to be recovered. Hash functions also used by many operating systems to encrypt passwords. Now let us understand its applications. A much known application of cryptography are digital currency, wherein cryptocurrencies are traded over the internet, e-commerce transactions, military operations. Also, cryptography is used for authentication to verify the identity of users, secure messaging and collaboration. Also, cryptography is used in digital rights management (DRM) systems to protect copyrighted content. These are just few examples of diverse applications of cryptography in the various domains. With this, let us move on to the next news article. Look at this article. The latest Household Consumption Expenditure Survey (HCES) for 2022 indicates that milk is the top food expenditure item in both rural and urban areas. In rural India, the average monthly spending on milk and dairy products per person is 314 rupees, surpassing other items like vegetables, cereals, egg, fish and meat. Urban India also reflects a similar trend, with milk leading the list at 466 rupees per month. So there was a need for new white revolution. So in this context, let us learn more about white revolution 2.0. Firstly, let us know about white revolution in general. The revolution which is associated with a sharp increase in the milk production is called as white revolution. So white revolution period is intended to make India a self-dependent nation in milk production. Today, India is the world's largest producer of milk, and Dr. Varghese Kurian is known as the father of white revolution in India. Operation Flood is the program that led to white revolution in India. It created a national milk grid linking producers throughout India to consumers in over 700 towns and cities. This reduced seasonal and regional price variations while ensuring that producers get a major share of the profit by eliminating the middleman. Village milk producers cooperative societies is the bedrock of Operation Flood, which procure milk and provide inputs and services, making modern management and technology available to all the members. Now moving to see about the new white revolution, also called as white revolution 2.0. First, why there is a need for new white revolution. In white revolution, the focus was on introduction of exotic cattle breeds like Jersey and producing their crossbred. Therefore, the developments of recognized Indian breeds were largely neglected. About 68% of milk produced in India is found to have adulterants like detergent, starch, urea, and white paint. Consumers are becoming more health conscious day by day, which is fueling growth for organic and natural milk products instead of milk from animals that are injected with growth hormones for more milk productions and are full of antibiotics. Therefore, there is a need to have a relook at the whole policy of dairy sector and to take steps so that the interest of the Indian farmers and consumers are protected. Now let us see the features of White Revolution 2.0. As White Revolution mainly focused on protection aspects of milk, White Revolution 2.0 will focus more on other ways and aspects which could increase farmers' income as well as the development of the related sectors. There will be use of artificial intelligence in the White Revolution 2.0, where AI tagging of animals help to keep track of health-related issues of particular animal. Tagged cows can be used as a bank loan liabilities or used for insurance purposes. Also, generating income through quality cat manure by changing traditional methods of producing manure. This quality manure can have good market value which would boost farmers' income. So to produce organic dairy products, New White Revolution focuses on the following aspects. First is managing crop and pasture land without the use of synthetic fertilizers, genetically engineered or modified organisms, fungicides, herbicides, or insecticides. Secondly, feeding 100% organic rations to cows and buffaloes. Thirdly, avoiding the use of antibiotics or synthetic hormones. So that's all about the White Revolution 2.0. With this, let us move on to the next news article. Look at this Indian Express article. The Indian government has granted a project to Patanjali Research Institute in Haridwar. The project focuses on creating guidelines for converting sewage treatment plant sludge into biosolids for natural farming. The proposal titled Study for Management of Sludge and Transformation into Biosolids has been approved by the National Mission for Clean Ganga. National Mission for Clean Ganga is a part of Ministry of Jal Shakti oversees the Namami Ganga program. In this context, let us understand about the National Mission for Clean Ganga in detail. See, the National Mission for Clean Ganga was registered as a society. It was registered on 12th of August 2011 under the Societies Registration Act 1860, and this mission acted as implementation arm of National Ganga River Basin Authority. See, this authority was constituted under provisions of Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, but this National Ganga River Basin Authority was dissolved after the constitution of National Council for Rejuvenation, Protection and Management of River Ganga. This is now referred as National Ganga Council. So we can say that this National Mission for Clean Ganga is the implementation wing of this National Ganga Council. So what about the aim of this mission? See, the aims and objectives of National Mission for Clean Ganga is to accomplish the mandate of National Ganga River Basin Authority. So what are they? Firstly, to ensure efficient abatement of pollution and rejuvenation of River Ganga. This is by adopting a river basin approach because it will promote intersectoral coordination for comprehensive planning and management. Secondly, to maintain minimum ecological flows in the River Ganga. This is to ensure water quality and environmentally sustainable development. So what is the vision of this mission? The vision for Ganga rejuvenation constitutes resorting the wholesomeness of the river. Thus, we can ensure Aviral Dhara, which means continuous flow, and Nirmal Dhara, which means unpolluted flow. Then the geologic and ecological integrity of the river. Then what about its implementation? See, the National Mission for Clean Ganga has a two-tier management structure. This comprises of Governing Council and Executive Committee. Both of them are headed by Director General of this program. And this Executive Committee has been authorized to accord approval for all projects up to 1,000 crores. Then at the state level, State Program Management Groups, SPMGs, acts as implementing arm of state Ganga committees. Thus, the newly created structure attempts to bring all stakeholders on one platform, so that a holistic approach towards task of Ganga cleaning and rejuvenation can be taken. Lastly, let us see the key functions of National Mission for Clean Ganga. Firstly, it implements the work program of National Ganga River Basin Authority. Secondly, it implements World Bank supported National Ganga River Basin project. Thirdly, it coordinates and oversees the implementation of projects sanctioned by Government of India under National Ganga River Basin Authority. Fourthly, it will undertake any additional work or functions. These are assigned by Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. Fifthly, it makes rules and regulations for the conduct of the affairs of National Mission for Clean Ganga. Also, it adds or amends vary the rules and regulations from time to time. Sixthly, it provides any grant of money, loan securities or properties of any kind. Also, it undertakes and accepts the management of any endowed trust, funds or donations that is consistent with the objectives of this program. Lastly, it takes all such actions necessary for the achievement of all the objectives of this authority. So that's all about National Mission for Clean Ganga. With this, let us move on to the next news article. Look at this article. This science page article talks about an enigma which is always a matter of research and investigation for humans. I hope you would have guessed it. It is evolution. That is how many species from animals to birds evolved in this world as a response to external situations. While many theories are postulated to explain this, the most popular Darwinian theory of evolution states that all organisms evolve through the process of natural selection. To put it simply, organisms inherit small changes over many generations, and these changes collectively enhances its ability to compete, survive and reproduce in the world. But this theory is not without flaws. See, the fossil records of the earth tells a more complex, in fact a different story. It tells that in addition to a constant rate of transformation, organisms also evolved at a different speeds and varying degrees of complexity in the world. It may look like a science fiction, right? Now let us see how snakes evolved at 3x speed faster than the other reptiles in this discussion. Now we shall go for a time travel of 100 to 150 million years ago. Then on a fine day, an evolutionary explosion happened and an extraordinary transformation was made. Know that a nondescript lizard lost their legs to become one of the most highly adopted predators in the history. Moreover, it captured almost every environmental niche on the planet. Today they are called snakes. Since then, through a series of remarkable adaptations, snakes acquired legless bodies to move across different terrains. Moreover, they also developed complex chemical sensory systems to track their prey. Then, with the flexible jaws to swallow large animals, and finally, they developed attack mechanisms like producing lethal venoms. Now, let us see the findings of the study in this journal. In this study, the scientists tried to unravel the genetic sequence of more than 1018 snakes and lizard species. As a result, they developed the largest and most comprehensive evolutionary tree of snakes and lizards. Through the genetic sequence of data, they revealed that snakes have been evolving much faster than their reptilian cousins. To put it simply, the snakes evolved almost 3 times faster than lizards and other reptiles. This evolution allowed them to take advantage of other new environmental niches that rapidly emerged after the extinction of the dinosaurs. Now let us see the basics behind this evolution. See, DNA and protein sequences evolve at a relatively constant rate over a period of time, irrespective of their organisms. This allows scientists to use genetic differences between the various species to estimate the time when they had a common ancestor. To put it simply, it is used to calculate relative pace of evolution of the organism. Similarly, genetic sequences serve a molecular clock using which scientists can determine the evolutionary distance between various organisms. Now let us compare snake evolution with its neighbor lizard. See, even though many lizards also adapted to these rapid changes and developed snake-like traits like losing their limbs and elongating their bodies. For example, Australian cincid lizard, that is Lerista. But sadly, snakes easily outpaced lizards in evolution. This leads to the burst of diversification among the snakes. The eventual result is that we have about 4,000 living species of snakes flourishing in variety of geographical conditions. Today, snakes are terrestrial dwellers, tree climbers, burrowers, swimmers, etc. If we examine the reason behind it, the studies narrow down snakes' hunting strategies and dietary preferences as the reason for their dominance. Let us see the example. The studies found that snakes largely consumed small vertebrates while lizards preferred insects and invertebrates. To put it simply, snakes specialize their food selection, whereas lizards have tended to be non-specific. Moreover, they identified snake-specific changes in the sonic hedgehog gene. Know that this is responsible for the enhancement of the limb of the vertebrate. An important inference from the scientists is that the evolutionary burst in the species may have happened multiple times. Moreover, a clear understanding of them is the key to understanding the Earth's ecological feature. So this is all about the discussion. In this, we found why snakes won the race of evolution vis-a-vis the lizards. With this, let us move on to the next news article. Look at this Hindu editorial article. It talks about the issues regarding plastic waste pollution affecting the Himalayan region. The author says that unscientific plastic disposal is causing soil and water pollution in this region. In this aspect, let us analyze about how plastic waste pollution affecting the biodiversity in a nutshell from our UPSC answer writing practice. Look at this mains question. discuss the challenges and limitations of the existing waste management policies in tackling plastic pollution and suggest improvements. This topic comes under the syllabus of GS paper 3. If we look at the question, it has two broad parts, that is challenges and limitations of existing plastic waste policies and improvements needed. Let us now briefly understand about how to structure this answer. Firstly, in the introduction, explain about the basic facts of plastic pollution and then mention about the regulations that are available presently. So the introduction should be going like this. India is generating about 3.5 million tons of plastic waste annually. Recently, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change announced the Plastic Waste Management Amendment Rules 2022, which notified the instructions on Extended Producer Responsibility (EPR) for plastic packaging is now being used as a regulation for plastic waste in India. So this can be your introduction. Now coming to the body part, we need to explain briefly about the challenges and limitations in the existing system. Firstly, many existing waste management policies lack sufficient infrastructure for the effective collection, segregation, recycling of plastic waste. Next is, there is a lack of awareness among the general public regarding the proper disposal methods and environmental impacts of plastic pollution. Then, enforcement of existing policies is often lax, leading to non-compliance by industries and individuals, resulting in improper disposal practices. And in spite of the notification of Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016 and the amendments made in 2018, local bodies, even the biggest municipal corporations, have failed to implement and monitor the segregation of waste. Similarly, the limited availability of recycling facilities hampers efforts to recycle plastic waste effectively, leading to a significant portion of plastic ending up in landfills or oceans. Also, the global nature of plastic production and consumption complicates waste management efforts, as plastic waste generated in one region can end up polluting distant ecosystems. Also, the involvement of informal waste collectors and recyclers can also pose challenges in terms of ensuring proper disposal and recycling standards. Similarly, limited financial resources allocated to waste management hinder the implementation of comprehensive policies and infrastructure development. So now moving on to the next part of the answer, explain briefly about the ways to improve the condition. Firstly, invest in the development of robust waste management infrastructure, including recycling plants and waste to energy facilities to improve the plastic waste management. Secondly, launch comprehensive educational campaigns to raise public awareness about the environmental impacts of plastic pollution and promote proper waste disposal practices. Similarly, strengthen enforcement mechanisms to ensure compliance with the waste management regulations by imposing fines and penalties for non-compliance. Also implement EPR, that is Extended Producer Responsibility schemes, to hold producers responsible for their entire life cycle of their products, including proper disposal and recycling of plastic packaging. Also provide incentives for industries and individuals to recycle plastic waste through schemes such as tax breaks or subsidies for using recycled materials. Foster international cooperation and agreements to address plastic pollution collectively, considering its global nature. Next, encourage research and investment in innovative recycling technologies to improve the efficiency of plastic waste management processes. Also, integrate informal waste collectors and recyclers into formal waste management systems, providing training, support, and incentives for adherence to proper disposal and recycling standards. Then, increase funding for waste management initiatives, including grants and subsidies for the infrastructure development, research, and public awareness campaigns. Then, promote a circular economy approach to plastic management, emphasizing recycling, reuse, and reduction of plastic consumption through innovative policies and incentives. Having discussed about plastic waste policy and its challenges with the way forward in brief, we shall now move on to the conclusion part of it. So our conclusion should go on similar lines as follows. Right from municipal solid waste, plastic waste to automobile waste, the amount of waste is expected to be 3 times by 2025. Less than 1/10 of the plastic is recycled. It is the right moment to address the loopholes in the existing policies to ensure sustainability and self-reliance in a long run. So that's all about this question. With this, let us move on to the next news article. Look at this Hindu front page article. On Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will witness the core loading process for India's indigenous fast breeder reactor in Kalpakkam. The fast breeder reactor is developed by Bhavini, that is Bharatiya Nabikya Vidyut Nigam Limited, and this event is considered a significant milestone in India's nuclear power program. This is the background of this article. Now in our analysis, let us see about India's 3-stage nuclear program from our prelims perspective. See, the first stage of nuclear program is the stage of pressurized heavy water reactors. This stage uses natural uranium that contains 99.3% uranium-238 and 0.7% uranium-235 as a fission material to produce energy. Know that in this process, plutonium will be a byproduct. A unique aspect of this stage is that there is no need for any enrichment and they use natural uranium. In India, pressurized heavy water reactor is located in Kakrapar Atomic Power Station in Gujarat. Now let us see the second stage. It deals with the fast breeder reactors. Know that fast breeder reactors uses mix of plutonium and the reprocessed uranium, that is the spent uranium from the first stage as the fuel. This will produce both electricity and more plutonium as a byproduct. This is because the uranium will get converted into plutonium. An interesting feature of this stage is that fast breeder reactor does not use moderators. Know that in the nuclear reactor, the moderator helps to slow down the neutrons, thereby ensuring the sustainability of the reaction. But in fast breeder reactor, there is no need to slow down the neutrons because fast neutrons are more efficient in transmuting uranium-238 into plutonium-239. Then the uranium-233 is produced finally in the second stage, which will be used as a fuel in the third stage of our nuclear program. Note that India has a prototype of fast breeder reactor in the Madras Atomic Power Station at Kalpakkam near Chennai. Finally, the third stage uses advanced heavy water reactor. The advanced heavy water reactor uses thorium-232 mixed with uranium-233 produced in the second stage in the form of mixed oxide as a fuel. The overall design of advanced heavy water reactor is to utilize the large amount of thorium reserve found in India in the form of monazite sand. Through these three stages, India aims to be self-sufficient in nuclear energy. This is all about the nuclear program of India. With this, let us move on to the prelims practice question discussion. Look at this previous year question. Consider the following statements. First one is, Animal Welfare Board of India is established under the Environment Protection Act 1986. This statement is incorrect because Animal Welfare Board of India was established under Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, not under the Environment Protection Act. Next statement is, the National Tiger Reserve Authority is a statutory body. This statement is correct because it was established under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Third statement is, the National Ganga River Basin Authority is chaired by Prime Minister. This statement is correct. Also note that this National Ganga River Basin Authority was renamed as National Ganga Council and it is headed by Prime Minister. So the first statement is incorrect. Second and third statements are correct. So the answer is option B. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding prototype fast breeder reactor in Kalpakkam. First statement is, the reactor is built by Bhavini. This statement is correct. Next one is, the reactor uses heavy water as coolant. This statement is incorrect because this fast breeder reactor uses liquid sodium as a coolant. So it is the pressurized heavy water reactor that uses heavy water as both coolant and moderator. Third statement is, the reactor does not have control rods since breeding activity requires fast neutrons. This statement is also incorrect because fast breeder reactors have control rods. Since breeding activity requires fast neutrons, it does not have moderator. So the answer is option A. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding cryptography. There are three types of cryptography. This statement is correct. Data compression is fundamental aspect of cryptography. This statement is incorrect because data encryption is the fundamental aspect of cryptography. Third statement is, public key encryption technique is primarily used for ensuring the confidentiality of data. This statement is also correct. So the correct answer is option C. Displayed here is the quiz question for you today. Understand the question and answer it in the comment section. With this, we come to the end of this news article discussion. If you like the video, do like, share and subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you so much for watching.